Hello, and thank you for joining us for Fixin' It with Phil and Friends. I'm Phil Milani. I don't know if you recognize me right over there. We're talking about fixing turnovers today with Matt Boyer, Andrew Mason, and Casey Jones. And guys, the Broncos gave it away 34 times last season. That was second worst in the league, only behind the Browns. Mace, let's start by talking about the punt return situation. Isaiah McKenzie had a couple of mistakes that really cost the Broncos this year.
Yeah, more than a couple. 6 fumbles this year, and that's why he lost the punt returning job late in the season. And you look at the Patriots game in particular, that early fumble, that was backbreaking for that game and potentially backbreaking for any chance of regaining momentum in the second half of the season. So, you want him to get back on track because certainly he brings some explosion, but he's got to handle the football better. Ball security for the quarterbacks and really for everyone who handles the football, that has to be of paramount priority because too often you saw early giveaways that define the narrative of games. And you look at that 8-game losing streak, it was the same plot line week after week after week. An early turnover, giving the other team momentum, putting the Broncos behind, and they just got caught in a vortex week after week, and it was numbingly familiar, and they couldn't get out of it.
Yeah, how do you fix a problem like that? I mean, Isaiah McKenzie, Matt, he's just a young guy going into year 2 now. Is it just simply just, hey, another year in the league?
I think so. I think it's focus. I mean, you think about the Broncos and their time of possession per game. They were 6th in the league. That's pretty good. It's a matter of, like you said, focus and discipline and just locking into those fundamentals and making sure you fine-tune a couple of things because the Broncos proved they can establish drives. They can move the ball down the field, and I think, like you said, if they just tweak a couple of things here and there, like the special teams play, securing those punts, not giving teams short fields, I think is going to be crucial as far as just fine-tuning those details.
And Casey, you thought maybe it's a little more than just attention to detail, right?
I think you have to have a clear plan as far as your offense and your philosophy as an offense. I don't think any of the quarterbacks wanted to throw interceptions this year. They weren't trying to go out there and turn the ball over, but it does happen. And I think there was a switch when Bill Musgrave came in, simplified the offense. I think that's what's going to happen in the offseason. They're going to fine-tune this offensive philosophy to take care of those things, not throw the ball into coverage so much.
Guys, the Broncos didn't really have an offensive identity last year. It was sometimes running the ball heavy, sometimes throwing it. You think that'll help, Mace?
It has to help. I mean, Vance Joseph talked about how the offense need to find a brand of football, and until the last 6 games, you didn't really know what that brand was. You wanted it to be establishing the run, but they got away from that too often. Now, establishing the run also means you got to protect the football in that regard. So if the Broncos go in that direction, ball security has to be a key for the running backs. And then for the quarterbacks, it's not that you don't take risks, but you've got to take calculated risks. Okay, throwing the ball deep downfield into coverage, maybe sometimes you're going to get a pick on that, but that's okay. Sometimes that can be like a punt. If you're, 3rd and long and you're going for like a deep 40-yard shot downfield, you know what? That's fine. That can be like a punt. No worries. It's kind of the short. It's the quick outs, the 15-yard outs that are picked off. Those are the things that can kind of be killer. Of course, we saw an interception on that kind of play in Miami, an interception on that kind of pass against the Giants right before the half. That was really killer. Those are the things you need to avoid.
I think the offensive line, too. I think Mace just mentioned it, giving the quarterback some time. The Broncos were 2nd worst in the league as far as interceptions, 22 on the season. So I think that giving those quarterbacks some time, Garrett Bowles is going to have another year. You're going to have Matt Paradis back. I think a lot of those pieces, continuity along the offensive line, Menelik Watson's going to be hopefully healthy by then. I think that getting those pieces back, some continuity is going to just help the Broncos solidify that position and turn the ball over less.
Yeah, at the end of the year, Vance Joseph said he blamed himself for not really addressing that. Like you said, coaching can make a big difference there.
A huge difference, and I think it's also a recommitment to the running game. Alex Gibbs was my favorite coach, offensive line coach here at Denver. He said every time you hand that ball over off to the running back, it's one less interception that you throw. Right, so I think a recommitment to that running game, getting that offensive line patched up and being ready to go, and having that being your identity going into the season, I think that's a good first step.
All right, that was our swing at trying to fix the Broncos' turnover problems from 2017. Clearly a major issue for why the Broncos were sitting at home during the playoffs. All right, that's going to do it for us. For Matt Boyer, Andrew Mason, Casey Jones, I'm Phil Milani.